Nearly 2,000 years ago, the most powerful man in the world sat down at night and wrote notes to himself he never meant for anyone to read. His name was Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, and he could have had anything, any luxury, any indulgence, any amount of gold. And what he kept reminding himself over and over in the privacy of those pages was to want less, to master himself, and to remember that almost everything people chase is worth far less than they think. That's the strange paradox at the center of Stoic philosophy, and it turns out to be one of the most powerful frameworks for money ever written, precisely because it was written by people who understood that wealth without control over yourself is just a more comfortable kind of slavery. Today, I'm taking the core ideas of the Stoics, Marcus, Seneca, Epictetus, and translating them into a grounded philosophy of money. Not to make you renounce wealth, to make you the kind of person who can actually build it and hold it without it owning you. Number 5 is the one that quietly ends the anxiety most people feel about money for their entire lives. One quick thing before we start. Stoicism is not about being cold or emotionless or pretending you don't want a good life. That's the bumper sticker version. The real philosophy is about one distinction, and it changes everything, separating what you control from what you don't, and pouring all your energy into the first while making peace with the second. When you point that single idea at money, most of the stress, the comparison, and the bad decisions quietly fall away. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. Control what you control. Lesson 1. Master the part of money you control and stop bleeding energy on the part you don't. Epictetus opened his whole philosophy with one line, in effect. Some things are up to us and some things are not, and nearly all human misery comes from confusing the two. Point that at money and it's almost surgical. You do not control the stock market, the economy, interest rates, what your industry pays, or whether this year is a boom or a bust. You completely control how much you spend, how much you save, what skills you build, how you behave when others panic, and whether you keep going. One list is noise. The other list is your entire financial destiny. Here's the mechanism, and it's freeing once you feel it. Most people obsess over the part they can't control, refreshing the market, worrying about the economy, waiting for conditions to be perfect, and neglect the part they completely can, their own behavior. The Stoic does the reverse. They shrug at the headlines and pour everything into their own conduct, the saving, the discipline, the steady building. Because that's the only place effort actually pays. A person who masters their own behavior in a mediocre economy will quietly outbuild a person who has perfect conditions and no self-control. The move. Draw the line, honestly. Take your money worries and sort each one into in my control or not. Then starve the second list of your attention and feed everything to the first. That's not resignation. It's aiming your energy where it can actually work. Lesson 2. Desire is the real expense. Lesson 2. It is not having little that makes you poor. It is wanting more. Seneca, who was himself extremely wealthy, wrote that no amount of money will ever be enough for the person whose real problem is their appetite, and that a poor man is not one who has little, but one who craves more. This is maybe the most important money idea nobody teaches, because it explains why raising your income so often fails to make you feel any richer. If your desires rise exactly as fast as your income, you will feel just as broke at 200,000 as you did at 40, chasing the same distance you never close. Here's the mechanism. Wealth is a ratio, not a number. It's what you have measured against what you crave. You can get richer two ways: by increasing what you have, which is slow and partly out of your control, or by mastering what you crave, which is immediate and entirely in your control. Most people only ever try the first, spend their whole lives feeding an appetite that grows faster than they can fill it, and die feeling poor while surrounded by more than their grandparents ever dreamed of. The Stoic works both sides. They build wealth and they train desire, so the gap actually closes. And notice how the whole economy runs against this. Everything is engineered to inflate your wants, to make what you have feel insufficient, because your dissatisfaction is someone else's revenue. The Stoic sees the game and quietly steps out of it. The move. Before your next upgrade, the bigger place, the newer thing, ask whether you actually want it or whether the wanting was installed in you. Half the time, the cheapest way to feel richer isn't to earn more, it's to want a little less on purpose. Lesson 3. Practice having less. Lesson 3. Rehearse having less so the fear of losing it stops running your life. The Stoics had a strange practice. Seneca advised setting aside days to eat the plainest food, wear the roughest clothes, and live as if poor, then asking, "Is this the condition I so feared?" They deliberately practiced discomfort, not because they enjoyed suffering, but to disarm the fear of it. Because the fear of losing money controls people far more than the loss itself ever would. It makes them cling, panic, make desperate decisions, and stay trapped in situations they hate because they can't imagine surviving with less. Here's the mechanism, and it's deeply practical. The person terrified of losing what they have is easy to control, easy to panic, and quick to sell at the bottom or cling to a job they should have left. The person who has genuinely faced the question, "What if I had less?" and realized they would survive, becomes almost unshakable. They negotiate harder because they can walk away. They invest calmly because a downturn doesn't threaten their survival, only their number. They take smart risks because failure isn't death, it's just discomfort they've already rehearsed. This is also why, strangely, the people most attached to money often handle it the worst. Their fear makes them reactive. The person who has made peace with less handles it with a steady hand, and the steady hand is what actually builds wealth over time. The move. Occasionally, on purpose, live below your means, not because you have to, but as practice. Prove to yourself you'd be fine with less. That proof is what frees you to make bold, calm money decisions instead of scared ones. Lesson 4. Time is the real wealth. Lesson 4. Money is replaceable, time is not, so spend the first to buy back the second. Seneca wrote an entire letter on this, and it lands harder every year you live. We guard our money jealously and squander our time carelessly when time is the one currency we can never earn back. People will fight over a small bill and then throw away an afternoon, a weekend, years, without a second thought. Marcus reminded himself constantly that he could die at any moment, not to be morbid, but to stay clear about what actually mattered while he still had the chance to choose. Point this at money and it reorganizes everything. The purpose of building wealth was never to have a bigger number. It's to convert money, which you can always make more of, into time and freedom, which you can't. The person who works themselves into exhaustion for money they never use to reclaim any time has the equation exactly backwards. They're trading the only irreplaceable thing for more of the replaceable one and calling it success. Here's the mechanism. Every purchase is really priced in hours of your life, the hours you work to afford it. And every bit of wealth you build is really a store of future freedom, hours you'll get to own instead of sell. The Stoic keeps this exchange rate in view. They spend money to save time whenever they can, and they build wealth specifically so that eventually their time becomes their own again. The move. Start pricing things in hours of your life, not just dollars, and start using money once you have enough to buy back time, delegating, saying no, working less at what drains you. Money for its own sake is a trap. Money traded for time is the entire point. Lesson 5. Define your enough. Lesson 5. The one that ends the anxiety. Define what enough is in a number before the world defines it for you. Marcus wrote that our life is what our thoughts make it, that external things don't disturb us, our judgments about them do. Money is the clearest example alive. Two people with identical bank accounts can feel completely differently about their situation, one at peace, one in quiet panic, and the only difference is the judgment they hold about what's enough. And here's the trap. If you never decide what enough is, the answer defaults to more forever, and more is a target that moves every time you approach it. You can win the whole game and still feel like you're losing because you never defined winning. Here's the mechanism. The anxiety most people feel about money is not really about their balance. It's about an undefined, ever-receding finish line. Your mind cannot rest against a goal it can never reach, and more can never be reached. The Stoic move is to set the number consciously. What does a good, secure, free life actually cost for me, not for the internet? And to recognize the point where additional money stops buying additional peace and starts just feeding the appetite from lesson 2. And this doesn't mean stop building. It means build towards something defined so that progress feels like progress and so that one day you can actually arrive instead of running forever from a starting line that keeps moving under your feet. The move. Sit down and define your enough, roughly, honestly, in a real number. What a secure and free life costs you. Suddenly you have a finish line, and a person running toward a finish line feels completely different from a person running from a fear that has none. Lesson 6. The view from above. Lesson 6. Most of what money is for is status, and status is a game you can simply decline to play. Marcus had a practice he called the view from above, imagining looking down on all of human affairs from a great height, watching people scramble and compete and posture, and seeing how small most of it truly was. He used it to stay level as an emperor surrounded by flattery and ambition. Use it on money, and it dissolves one of the most expensive forces in your life, the need to impress. An enormous share of what people spend isn't for themselves at all. It's a costume, worn for an audience that isn't watching nearly as closely as they think. Here's the mechanism, and Marcus named it plainly. We all love ourselves more than we love other people, but we care about their opinion more than our own. So we spend real money, our own limited life hours converted into dollars, to shape a picture in the minds of people who are busy worrying about their own picture. The status car, the label, the upgrade nobody needed. It's rent paid to strangers for a feeling that evaporates in a week. The Stoic sees the whole performance from above and quietly opts out, not out of superiority, out of freedom. The person who genuinely stops needing to impress just kept a fortune most people burn. The move. On your next big purchase, ask one honest question: would I still want this if no one would ever know I owned it? If the honest answer is no, you weren't buying the thing. You were renting other people's approval, and it's the most overpriced thing money can buy. Lesson 7. Stay calm in the storm. Lesson 7. Meet losses and setbacks with steadiness, because the calm response is worth more than the loss cost you. The Stoics had a phrase, amor fati, love of fate, the practice of meeting whatever happens, even the bad, with acceptance instead of panic. Not passive resignation, but a refusal to add emotional suffering on top of a practical problem. In money, this is worth a fortune, literally, because the biggest financial damage in most people's lives isn't caused by the setback itself. It's caused by their panicked reaction to it. The market drops and they sell everything at the bottom. They lose a job and make 3 desperate decisions that make it worse. The loss was survivable. The panic wasn't. Here's the mechanism. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a gap. And Stoicism is the discipline of widening that gap. The untrained person has no gap. Event and reaction are one. So a downturn instantly becomes a fire sale. A setback instantly becomes a spiral. The trained person meets the same event with a pause, absorbs it, and responds from reason instead of fear. Over a lifetime of inevitable ups and downs, that single skill, staying calm when others panic, quietly separates the people who compound their wealth from the people who repeatedly blow it up at the worst possible moment. And here's the freeing part. You will have setbacks. Everyone does. The Stoic doesn't pretend otherwise. They just decide in advance that the setback gets to cost them money, but it does not get to cost them their judgment. And keeping your judgment in a crisis is often worth more than never having the crisis at all. The move. Decide now, before the next downturn or shock, that your response will be reasoned, not reactive. When it comes, and it will, pause before you act. The loss is the small bill. The panic is the expensive one, and you don't have to pay it. Wealth is self-mastery. So look at the 7 together, because the Stoics were pointing at one thing the whole time. Control what you can. Master your desires. Lose the fear of losing. Guard your time. Define your enough. Drop the need to impress. Stay calm through the storms. Not one of those is about the size of your bank account. Every single one is about mastering yourself, and that's the secret the Stoics understood that most money advice completely misses. Wealth was never only an external number to accumulate. It's an internal state you build, the state of a person who wants what's reasonable, fears losing nothing, values their time, and keeps their head when everyone else loses theirs. Get that internal wealth, and the external kind becomes far easier to build and, more importantly, far easier to actually enjoy. And that's why this fits everything on this channel. The people who quietly build and keep real wealth are almost never the ones chasing hardest. They're the ones who mastered themselves first, so that money became a tool they used instead of a master they served. 2,000 years ago, an emperor figured that out in his private journal. The tools still work because human nature hasn't changed, and most people still haven't read the note he left. So here's your move. And don't try to become a Stoic sage by Friday. That's not how it works. Pick the one lesson that hits something in you. The desire, the enough, the fear, the status, and practice just that one this week. Catch yourself once. Choose differently once. That's how self-mastery is actually built, one small rep at a time. And if this is the kind of grounded, deeper breakdown you want more of, subscribe to Rich Person Habits, because every week I take one more idea that separates the people who quietly master money from the people money quietly masters, and I show you exactly how it works. No hype, no noise, just the truth about how it's really done. I'll see you in the next one.